Hi folks, hope you're doing well. It's just gone 11 p.m. on the 6th of September 2020. It's not been a bad day today at all. Went for a nice little walk early. I've just uploaded that video, the Fairy Village Woods Walk and Talk. Yes, so that's available now for people to watch. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. What about this one? There's a few things we can discuss in this one. 1 second. Yeah, something just reminded me of when I was younger. We first had the electric carving knife. And that was a thing that lasted no time at all. Because as soon as people bought the things, they realised how incredibly useless they were. But they were the craze for a very, very short while. The reason why I remember that is just started watching a program called Little Birds, and in the first episode of that, the father is using an electric carving knife to carve the meat. And it just reminded me, as a young, very, very teenager, I would imagine. That's when the carving knife really was there, and it was one of those things that you sort of, a parental figure would bring out this carving knife Sunday lunch time and attempt to carve the meat with this carving knife, but still have to use the hand motion back and forwards on the meat. It just meant that they didn't really have to put any pressure on the meat itself because the knife was doing this back and forwards movement. But such a tiny back and forwards movement that it was doing nothing at all, really. And it was more of a bread knife, sort of serrated blade. What you do is more for cutting bread than for cutting meat, if my memory serves me correctly. Because generally, for cutting meat, you'd use a chef's knife, and they don't have a serrated blade at all. So, yeah, strange, the blade that they gave these knives, really. But they weren't very good. And I seriously doubt that any chefs would have used them. I think they would use them in restaurants where the person serving would have been cutting meat at the table. I think they would have tried to show off for a time until everyone had them in their homes, at least. They would have tried that in the restaurants to show how advanced they were with a new craze. But now, of course, it's all gone back to the normal of you do it by hand. Even cutting a bread, you do it by hand. But actually, rather interestingly, I discovered the cutting of bread. To cut bread without making so much mess, you need to actually make the same sort of movements as those electric carving knives are making. Tiny little movements. Because the least movements you make while cutting the bread, then back and forward, but really no. Tiny movements forwards and backwards. Less mess. Of course, still some mess, but less mess. So, of crumbs. So, but that was an interesting memory. I think how, middle class people would go and get these new tools. They would go and get the fondue sets and stuff like that. Absolutely stupid. Thinking it made them better in some way because they had these things. It did nothing. Of course it did nothing, because they were phases, little fads of the day. I hear myself talking about the middle class again, so I just need to say one thing. I don't have an issue necessarily with middle class people. That's cool. Don't care. I mean, I find it rather sad. Yeah, funny, sad sort of thing, because you've got a people that try to get out the working class into some middle ground of being the middle class. Problem is, they never realise that the upper class, the people that really controlled things, didn't recognise them as anything but working class. Probably even looked down on them even more, because of course you've got working class people acting as if they're better than other working class people, because they speak with a bit more of an accent. Yeah, Queen's English, and because they drive a slightly better car, they live in a slightly better house. So that makes them better because they're not working class, they're middle class. It's foolishness. Really, working all the hours that God gives you. You can afford this car, you can afford this better house. Also, you can try to climb into a class system that doesn't actually exist. It's funny from the point of view that they would sort of try to lord it above the working class people, when the fact of the matter is you're far worse than the people you try and lord it over. Sad, because of the fact that they spent so many hours of their life trying to fit into something that didn't exist. But believing it did, because of course, if you're working so hard to fit in it, it must exist, mustn't it? Because all these other people have done the same. So it must exist, mustn't it? Well, I think people are starting to realise that no, it never did exist. It never did. So, yeah. So that's it. You've got all that. Indeed, yes. Yeah. Well, football-wise, we still have the same stuff going on. Talk about Sancho going to United. Talk about a left back as well, a Real Madrid left back. One who was on loan at Sevilla. Good player. This left back, very good. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. It would be just unfair to him to do so. But I mean, he's a very good player. Tricky thing is that people surmise that maybe Real Madrid would want to buy back clause. I'd say first offer of buying back would be a fair option. If you're going to sell him, they would have the first option. So if another club offered, United would pay around 25 million for him. So if another club offered 40 million, then Real Madrid would be given the first option to offer that same amount, and that offer be accepted. So they'd be the first ones to talk to the player to see if he wants to come back. That'd be fair. Whereas having the option where Real Madrid can just come in and buy the player back at any point they want, no. got to go through the process where if the player wants to go back, then that's one thing. If an offer is made that's good enough or too good for the club to refuse, that's one thing. So I think a buyback clause, yeah, you could do that, but then the amount has to be reflective of the value that the player would be in 2 or 3 years' time. He's only 23 years of age, so he's very young, really. But he's better than Shaw. Obviously, people like Goldbridge will say no, because Goldbridge loves Shaw. He's a massive fan of Shaw. But to me, Shaw is one of these players who, yeah, I mean, you can blame the managers we've had. Certainly, you can do that. And I think to a certain degree that may be true. But even with Mollie, Shaw has played most of his passes backwards or sideways. He generally doesn't try and go past the last man. He's often quite slow going forwards. Whereas this other lad, he's far better going forwards. Maybe not quite as good defensively, but far better going forwards. Naturally left-footed, so again, that's good. Scores goals as well, so which Shaw really doesn't. I mean, Shaw has in the past, but he hasn't for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, I think if United get this lad, he will keep Shaw out of the team. I truly believe that if he just performs the same for United as he has for Sevilla, then yeah, he will keep Shaw out of the team. That's the thing. Is it Seville or is it Sevilla? That's a Spanish team. Not sure. Again, I think it's slightly disrespectful trying to pronounce it in a Spanish accent when you're not Spanish. Because you're likely to get it completely wrong. In which case, yeah, Seville. That'll do. Yeah. So yeah, so that's the situation there. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, it is all fun and games. Amber will be sleeping in the shower now for the next couple of nights. Amber is the dog you see on that photo. She's the ginger or red and white collie. She's highly expectant now. If you watch the Fairy Village Woods talk, you'll see her in front, and she's big now, very big. So she's very due. She's got, I think, probably about 4 days until she has her pups. I imagine there's 6 or 7 pups there inside her belly. So she's in the shower now. I put some carpet in the shower for her. So she'll be relatively comfortable. Not as comfortable as she is in the lounge where there's duvets everywhere. Yeah, because they've got quite a lot of the lounge as their space. And there's, I think, at least 6 duvets on the floor for them. So I'll hold it 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably about 6, yeah. I guess. About that. Yeah, that's cool. So, alright. They're doing well. Dogs are doing very well, yeah. I cut their hair for summer. Their hair's gone back now. I brush it every now and again to make sure that the undercoat is kept back so that the top coat will grow through. The undercoat will soon grow through anyway. You only keep it back until the top coat is coming through, then you just leave it. and let it grow through as it wishes. And then it just, because as long as the top coat's coming through, that's what matters really. It will make its way through, and the bottom coat will just come through anyway. So, so we're coming towards the colder times now, definitely. I mean, at night, going out for the midnight walk, yeah, it's been nippy. It has been nippy the last couple of nights. Yeah. Walking's good though, because as I say, I generally don't do legs in the gym. Well, things like the proper sort of leg stuff that people do, people that are bigger than me, certainly take it a lot more seriously than I do. Yeah, they do a lot of leg press when they put some serious weight on the bar, put the bar on their shoulder, squat and then push up. No, I'm not doing that. There's no way, shape, or form I'm doing that. No. I did damage to my knees years ago, cartilage issues. So there's no way, shape, or form I'm doing that. And as I said in other videos, if I do my legs too much, then certainly the first couple of times I do my legs, they're going to be very sore and quite painful to walk. So walking the dogs at night is going to be more painful. So it's easier to not do so much. Just walk, do the walk and talk with the dogs. We did the Fairy Village walk as well earlier. So, and that's to do legs and to burn off calories. Because like today I had, after the gym, I had a ribeye steak, more or less straight after. And then later on, I had 2 burgers cut up into bite-sized pieces with some peas and then some gravy. And so, yeah, plenty of protein in the food. I was going to have other food. Yeah, sort of, I do hot cross buns in the toaster. And they can be very nice. I was going to do them tonight, but I don't need to now. Because I had those burgers, peas and gravy, and that was plenty. I don't feel I need any more food. So normally I would have eaten more, but no, I haven't. I just haven't been bothered. Been perfectly satisfied as I am, really. So that's cool. That's good. So yeah, like the walk and talk earlier. That was a discussion there. The talking was about workout update and the reason for working out. And yeah, I mean, I'll just expand a tiny bit on that, or another. Expand on the first reason that I gave about if I'm going to get married, then I need to be the best person I can be for her. I've said in previous videos, I'm not trying to get a 6-pack. No interest in doing so. I mean, I could put the work in to get that. I could easily put the work in to be ripped. To have, to look the part. Yeah, I could do that quite easily. It was just increase the reps, lower the weight, increase the reps, and do the same amount of time, 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours of working out. Just increase the reps and rep quicker. So don't slow the rep down to make the muscles work harder like I normally do, but rep quickly. Push, 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 push. That sort of speed. But why? If I was young, I mean very young, if I was in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s, yeah. Yeah, maybe, yeah, the girl that I'd be with would be at the same sort of age, and she would want someone who was ripped, maybe. Um, and that as I got older, I would relax on that a bit. Um, but I am older. I'm 51. So I've had relationships. I've had relationships with people, and I know that if you're with someone who's skinny or someone who's basically pure muscle, on those cold winter nights, when you're in bed together, that person who is skinny or just muscle will take your body heat. Now, that's one thing. The other point is if you're with someone who's skinny or basic muscle, just muscle, you cuddle that person, there's nothing really to cuddle. There's something soft. In a cuddle, there needs to be a bit of soft. There needs to be strength, but there needs to be a bit of soft as well. So, yeah, you don't want to cuddle someone who's just bone. If someone's just muscle, they might as well just be bone. Because it's hard. There's nothing soft to cuddle into, you know? You've got to have some of that. It's only right, you know? So that's why. Trying and give the best that I can be. So I'm not going to steal her body heat. She's going to get some of mine. That's cool. Yeah. Because I've got stomach muscle. I've just got a tiny bit of fat over that, and that's cool. I don't mind. I don't mind that. I may have a six-pack under there, certainly by the time I get married. But it will be under there. You know? Yeah. I say all of that is important, that when you cuddle, you know, you want to make sure it's comfortable. It needs to be a very comfortable cuddle. Skin and bone or pure muscle is not comfortable to cuddle. But, yeah, being obese or being very overweight is not comfortable to be with either. Because if you're with someone like that, then you're more likely to overheat at night because they're producing so much heat, certainly in times like the summer. How on earth people can sleep with someone who's very overweight, I do not know, because the amount of heat that that person is producing, yeah, you're going to struggle to sleep. So there's a balancing act, of course there is. Yeah. But that's where, yeah, the walking at night and the fairy village walks are useful because burns off some of the calories from the food. Because of course I have that. I'll tell you about the good food I've eaten like that. Yeah. I mean, burgers isn't exactly good food. I didn't have the buns of it or cheese. It was just a beef burger with peas. So, and I thought in peas because I don't eat that much in the way of vegetables, and you've got to eat vegetables. Vegetables are really important to eat on a regular basis for health. So I talked in the Fairy Village Walk and Talk about the fact that if you work out, if you push your body to the point where it has to fight, it has to either repair muscle or your lungs are burning because you're pushing and pushing and pushing, you're more likely to be able to defend against the virus. So diet is also really important for that. Having a healthy diet. It's important making sure you have your vegetables. It's important for your body to have all the food types. And yeah, I mention those. What I don't mention that often is that when I have tea or coffee, I have to have biscuits. I do. It certainly helps me when I wake up. When I'm about a kid to wake up. Yeah, that sugar rush is quite useful to wake up. Yeah, good area of carbs, definitely. There's a lot of fat there, there's a lot of carbs. Sugar, which is energy, needs all of that. But it also produces fat. As I say, I try and turn as much as possible the fat into muscle as much as I can. Um, yeah, I'm trying to, at the moment, trying to figure out, okay, I've never been this age, so I've never trained at this age. So I've got to figure out, okay, how often do I want to train now? Because in a way, I can train definitely once a day. I can train every day. I can do that. But do I want 2 hours every day or just an hour every day? Don't know. I don't know. Um, it certainly is the case, if I can get the training done right, as in the amount of rest time between sets being correct, then obviously I will need longer, probably, to finish the workout, because if I've got 5 minutes between sets, then it's going to take longer. Certainly, like today, I did. It's got to be 6 sets on the upper chest cable crossover. So at least 6 sets with that, if not more. I think it's probably more. Probably 7 or 8 sets with that. Then when I did the flat bench, I did probably, I think, 5 sets with that. Well, because I increased the weight, then I started taking the weight back down again. So, and then once I increased the weight to the max, I did 3 sets of that at max. So I worked my way up to that, so doing sets up to that, and then sets down from that. So that was probably about 6 at least as well. 6 or 7. So if you're doing that, then, and you take 5 minutes between each set, then that's a lot of minutes that you need, to be there at the gym. So although if I'm at the gym for 2 hours, I'm not actually training for all that 2 hours, because most of that 2 hours is resting. Because when you're doing your reps really take between, for each set. Certainly, if you're doing heavy, you're doing 4 reps per set. So that's going to take probably 2 minutes maximum, and then you rest for 5 minutes. Then 2 minutes maximum, then you rest for 5 minutes. Now I should maybe rest for longer. I mean, when I see the proper strength builders train, they tend to rest when they're doing heavy. So certainly their heavy training. They tend to rest for longer than 5 minutes per set or between sets. So maybe I need to rest longer. That's something I've got to figure out. Yeah. And as I say, do I do it 2 hours every other day like I was planning, or do I do it an hour a day? Or do I do it 2 hours a day? So I could do that. Easy enough, I could do that. I could be at the gym for 2 hours a day. Because I used to go to the gym at least 3 days a week and spend 2.5 hours in there, because I used to go to the gym, then spend about an hour and a half in the sauna. In the sauna area, at least, mainly in the sauna, sometimes in the steam room. Going into the pool occasionally to cool down. So these are things that I've got to figure out. I've got to work out what I want to do with regards to that, because do it properly, and there can be some good advances. Because of course my real aim for this training is to try and make sure I can be functional for as long as possible, which is another reason why I'm not pushing my legs too much. Because I don't want to do any damage to my legs. So walk and talks are good for legs, because I walk around the park twice. That's good for the legs. Cool. That's good for just before bed. It helps me to sleep. Burns off calories. Good exercise for the legs. Fairy Village Woods Walk and Talk. Good for the legs. Fantastic. There's other places we can go to have a good walk. That's brilliant. Good for the legs. There are things I can do down at the gym. I mean, generally speaking, if I do legs at the gym, then I'm really doing legs as a way of resting the upper body. So for example, like today I was doing lateral pull down along with the upper back. The pulling towards you with the weight, pulling towards your chest to do the upper back. I was doing them both at the same time. So doing one, then next set was the other exercise, then back to the upper back, then back to that pull down. Now, ideally speaking, to be able to maximize on both of those, would have probably been better for me to just focus on one, then do some legs, and then do the other one. Because by the time I'd done the legs, the shoulders, upper back would have been able to relax a bit, recover a bit, and be ready again for the next one. And so that would have been a good way to do things. So there you go. Time will tell. There's a lot of learning to do. As I say, I mean, I've worked out before, but I've never been this age working out. So it all changes, or potentially changes. We'll see. We'll see what the best idea will be, and we'll see what the recovery is from today. Because I may possibly go in tomorrow. Depends on how I feel. Although the likelihood is I won't, because I want to make sure that I'm recovered enough for Tuesday. Because the plan is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday this week I'll be going. But we'll see. We shall see. Time will tell. We've got the walk and talk, midnight walk and talk, in about a quarter of an hour. If there's anything else to discuss, I will discuss that then. Okay. So it's only in about 40 minutes now till we do that. So we'll see if there's anything else to talk about. You take care. God bless. I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.